Welcome. I'm going to tell you a story today. A story you may know, but a story that does not have an ending, but deserves one. So, in the beginning, there was nothing. And then God said, "Let there be school idols." And so came Muse. And with Muse, they existed for a few years. They performed their lives, they had their anime, and they kept the world in peace. And then, as all great things do, we needed something new. We needed a future to take over. So, what was created? Aqours. This was the second Love Live group, and it formed and was a companion group to Muse. Not long after this, the group Nijigasaki ended up being formed. This was our third Love Live group. But there is a thing as too many school idols. And with that, Muse had to step away. Muse was disbanded at this point, but that was not the end, because shortly thereafter, Liella, or Superstar, was formed. That was our fourth Love Live group, but it was our third in that time. So as time went on, there was rumblings. Was Aqours next? How long did they have left? Because even if they wanted to be around forever, time would catch up with them. You can't be a school idol forever. So there was rumblings. Is there going to be a new Love Live group? And if there is, does that mean Aqours is going away? And many, myself included, believed that would probably be for the best. You see, with three Love Live groups at a time, it kind of forms this perfect trio. You have the third years as a reference, which was Aqours, the oldest group. They were the veterans. They had been here for the longest time. They knew how the school idol world worked, and it was great. They were our veterans. We wanted them to live out the rest of their days as the heroes of the school idol world. You had Nijigasaki, the second group, the second years. They were still in the prime of their careers, but they still had a long time to go. We knew Aqours would go before them, so it was fine that we had a lot longer left with them. And we had the first years, Liella, who were still very new. They were just getting a first season of their anime. We knew there was much more to come. And with a new Love Live group, Hanasara, we figured, okay, this is it. Next few years, Aqours is going to go away. And they didn't. So came time for the new school year, and we all figured, okay, Aqours is gone. They've graduated. They've moved on, as they should have. They deserved that. They're moving on. It's time for them to leave. Nijigasaki became the third years. They became the veterans. Liella, now in their third school year almost, they went up to be the second years. And Hanasara, we thought, would become the first years. But then Yohane showed up, and they all acted like they were first years. They're not first years. So yeah, this is a long drawn out spiel to tell you that I think Aqours has overstayed their welcome. Now, before I get into all of that, let me make something perfectly clear. Aqours has done incredible stuff for the Love Live franchise. They have taken it to far reaches that Muse never did, and they deserve all the praise for that. We had our first international concert with Aqours. We had a collab with Hatsune Miku. That's insane on its own. More merchandise than ever. We had a live with the rival group. Saint Snow had their own live. So nobody's discounting the fact that Aqours is incredible and deserves a ton of praise. They are incredible. The people behind the scenes, the girls on stage, everyone has done a fantastic job, and they deserve the praise for years to come, the same way Muse has. No one discounts what Muse did for the start of the franchise. They are legends in the school idol world, and that's what I wanted Aqours to be. You see, if Muse stuck around, if Muse stuck around, an issue that would have arose is that Muse would always be seen as the seniors. And when Nijigasaki comes in, when Liella comes in, then you almost have this middle ground that is the awkward middle child that Aqours would have been. And if Muse always was that oldest child, they would have always been seen as the legends. They would have always seen as that classic, you want to go see Love Live, you go see them. But when they left, it became Aqours, as it should have. But now we're not getting that for Nijigasaki. It is always going to be Aqours. And the problem is there is 12 girls in Nijigasaki. Technically 13 if you want to count you. And we've already seen that that is a dangerous thing. And my reasoning why is the voice actress behind Setsuna has already had to retire. That was what took down Muse, because multiple girls had to step down. They were going to have to. So instead of replacing them, they decided to shut the group down. If Nijigasaki has multiple girls, as they get older, they just have to. You can only sing for so long. You can only perform for so long. And as they get older, you run the risk that as a bigger group, multiple girls will have more problems. They are on their 3-movie trilogy that will finish off their story. Their game is gone. They have no reason to stick around after those movies. So if another girl says, hey, my vocals can't handle this anymore, I have to step away. What if it's a main character? Setsuna was already a main character. What if it's Ayumi? What if it's Rina? How do you replace those iconic voices, those iconic characters at this point? You can't. You're going to have to tell them, okay, we don't want an entire group that is all new people. It's time for it to be gone. It's time for us to say goodbye. And that's the thing. Maybe Aqours doesn't have that problem. And maybe Nijigasaki won't. But I don't think it's in the proper methods if we see Nijigasaki retire before Aqours. I don't think that is what anybody wants. But now with Yohane, I feel like that's going to happen. And I don't want that, because then what is going to happen is Aqours is going to overstay their welcome. That is a common problem with sports. And I'm going to use a sports analogy for school idols, but I think it fits here. You always have that really amazing athlete that came in. They were amazing in their prime. They were a legend. And if they retired when they turned 40, they would have been Hall of Fame legend. They didn't need to prove anything else. They were great on their own, what they had accomplished already. But they said, nope, I've got more left in me. I can do more. I want to stick around. And they do. They stick around. But the problem is you can only stick around for so long because your stats start to go down. People will still come to your games because they want to see you, that you're a legend. And they want to see you perform. But you slowly start to, your songs aren't that good, your plays aren't that good, you're not winning as many games, you maybe aren't selling as many CDs. And then after a while, people start to say, has he been here too long? Has Aqours stayed too long? There's a reason why a lot of musical groups don't last 5-10 years, because that's about the max. 10 years is a long time for a musical group. They just don't work because a multitude of reasons, but they just don't work. And especially whenever it's a franchise like this, you know, you're not, if you step away, your fans are not left without anything. They know, okay, it's your time. You have served us well. Let's move on. I don't think very few Love Live fans would be mad at Aqours for stepping down. But this gets me to my major point, and that is Sunshine in the Mirror, Yohane, the new series. I think this was a mistake, and I think it was done wrong. I think it is us starting to see the cracks in Aqours. I think this is the beginning of the end, and I don't want to see it go out this way, but I think it is. But I want to fix it. I want Aqours to go out the same way Muse did. Have you ever watched that Muse final live? I highly recommend it. Even if you just go and watch the final song, just look up on YouTube Muse Final Love Live, the final song. You can watch their live. It gives me goosebumps every single time I watch it. Now, obviously, they came back for the ninth anniversary, whenever them and Aqours and Nijigasaki all gathered on stage and they sung Snow Halation for the final time. And that was great too. That still gives me goosebumps because they came back. They were amazing. And I'm not saying Aqours couldn't do something like that. That would be great. Maybe an 18th anniversary or a 15th anniversary. That would be great. But I say that to say that Muse left an impact in their final moments. They went out with a bang. They left such an impression that fans will always go back to that live and say, wow, they were amazing up until their final moment. And you know what? People will say, what if Muse stuck around? What if Muse had more left in them? I don't think anyone's going to say that about Aqours, at least at their current rate. So let's talk about Yohane and its series. So I'm hesitant to say that this is Yohane's fault. The character of Yohane. It's definitely not the voice actress's fault. None of this is their fault. But I don't want to say this is Yohane's fault. But I do want to say that I think this series went in the wrong direction. This character pretty much got the love that it did because of, hey, she's the funny character. Everybody loves her. And then they took that and they said, hey, what if we made a series about that? Because if you look at, let's look at Muse, for example. Muse, the first years, we have Hanayo, Maki, and Rin. Obviously, the center for them three is Rin, but everybody loves Maki. Maki is the fan favorite of those three. But no one says Rin wouldn't have been the center if they make a new group. And I think the same thing kind of started to happen with Aqours, but then Love Live decided, the franchise decided, no, forget that. Yohane is the center. Because I think Ruby was actually set up to be the center, but then they turned around and said no. And you might say, well, Ruby's not. Ruby's the fan favorite. No. If you look at Aqours and tell me Yohane is not the favorite. I mean, she's obviously the favorite. Ruby's up there, but she's not Yohane levels. And you might say, well, why Ruby? Why Ruby of all people? Like, why not Hanamaru? It doesn't make sense that it's Ruby. She's the shy one. No, she's not. Because look at Awaken the Power. One of the final songs in the Love Live series or Sunshine series is Awaken the Power. And we see that Ruby takes a center stage, her and Lei, and they become a center type character. And they are able to show their big sisters, hey, we'll be fine without you. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. And that's Ruby. Ruby is able to say, hey, I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about me. And that's when she became a center. Yohane never has that moment. Now, we can give her that moment. I'm going to do that here in a minute. But she doesn't have that moment. So Ruby should have been the center if there ever was a Love Live sequel or Sunshine sequel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore Yohane, the series, season 1, because I think it's awful. I think it is the worst Love Live series that we have ever gotten. And the reason why is simply because they marketed it as a fantasy Love Live, and it ended up just being a Love Live with a fantasy coat of paint on it, but it took away all of the heart out of a Love Live series. Love Live has a big heart. And we see that the way that it's in the school setting, it just works so well. It's this formula, and yeah, it's been done multiple times now, but it works so well. And then they put it in this setting where we're fantasy, we don't have school, and it's just everybody's kind of in this town, and it just doesn't work. It never worked. So we're gonna start brand new. We're going to act like all we have to go on is this picture that was the April Fool's joke that ended up causing this series to come true. We're going to act like this is what we have to go on. We don't got to go off any of the series. That's all forgotten. We're going to act like that didn't happen because they're not going to listen to anything I have to say, so I don't have to listen to anything they have to say. So what we're going to do is we're going to give Yohane 2 seasons. We're going to give it season 1, season 2. Now keep that in mind. And we're going to start the series over, start it in season 1, and we're going to start it a little bit different than the way they started it. So in the actual series, Yohane is kind of known around town. She is known by multiple people in the town. Now, Hanamaru is her closest friend, but she is obviously known around the town already. We're going to change that. We're going to say that Yohane is not known by the other 7 members. She is just known by Hanamaru. So that is our introduction to them. And I don't really care what you do with the fantasy aspect of this. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about how we end the Aqours saga. And we're going to do that through the series, but I don't really care how you do the fantasy thing. Just do it better than you did. Actually give fantasy elements. Don't just give it, hey, they sung a song at the end and it saved the world. That's boring. And if you're going to do that, dive more into the musical thing. Maybe this character has a musical type power. Maybe this character has an instrument type power. Not just, hey, Chica's got a gun. Adia's got a motorcycle, and that motorcycle is actually Ruby. But Ruby's a fairy. That's boring. That's boring. Just don't do that. So like I said, I'm not going to talk about the fantasy aspect. I'd be here all day if I talked about that. So I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to forget about that. We're just going to talk about the main story beats. So throughout the story, we're going to have similar aspects to what we did in the main series. Yohane progressively meets the crew. Now we want her to meet them all in the first 3 episodes. Now how you do that, you have Mari and Dia and Kanan, they're together. They're just together. We don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. So keep a pin on all these points because I'm going to bring it all back. But they're all together. We have Rico, Yu, and Chica. They're all together. And then we meet Ruby, who is with Dia. She's just kind of existing with her because they're sisters. But first off, I want to make Ruby and Hanamaru and Yohane pretty much this trio. I don't know why they didn't do this. This was such a stupid idea that they did in this series. Pretty much, they made units for Aqours in this series. They made Chica and Dia and then Ruby into a unit, which did not work. Their song is awful. And then they made Hanumaru and Yu and Kanan into a unit, which kind of worked. They had a good song, but they just don't work as compatible people. And then we had a really good one with Yohane and Mari and Rico, but it's like, okay, but other than like, yeah, they already are a unit, so of course they work. But other than that, like, what do they have going for them? So we're going to forget about that because our units are going to be just the years. So Chica, Yu, Rico, they're a group. Mari, Dia, and Kanan are going to be a group, or Kana is going to be a group. And then Hanumaru, Ruby, and Yohane is going to be a group. Now, that's not to say that we aren't going to have big groups as well. We're going to have the full 9 singing for the most part. And that's how we're going to go. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that the fantasy aspect uses song, because I do like that. I think that's a good idea, having song be this kind of, powerful aspect of this franchise. I think that's really, it's a good idea if done right. So why do I want them to all meet in the first 3 episodes? Well, that's very simple, because we got to get into character development really, really quick. I want them to meet, and I want them to recreate the story of Love Live Sunshine in this world in the first season. We're going to recreate both seasons and the movie in one season. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tight-packed, but we're going to do it. We're going to try to zip through this, and we're going to get on with it. And it's pretty much just going to be from Yohane's perspective. So if there's a conflict between the 3rd years, we don't see it unless it involves Yohane. We're going to get a lot of character development from Yohane because this is all from her perspective. That's what this series should be. And this leads us into a climactic end for season 1. A season 1 finale that will change this series, that will show fans we're not afraid to give this older group that their fans have grown up. If you're a new Love Live fan, you're going to be maybe a Liella fan, or maybe a Nijigasaki fan even. But the older fans, the ones that grew up with Aqours, they're older now. They're in their later teens, maybe even 20s. So it's time to give them a proper story. And yeah, maybe you can say, Love Life doesn't do that. Well, they should. They should. And we're going to do that right now. All of our main 9 save the day. A villain, maybe a smaller villain or whatever, it doesn't matter. The villain for season 1 does not matter, but it should be just something generic. They beat it. They win the day. Everybody's celebrating. We did it. Yay. We saved the town. But then we get introduced to a new villain. A void. A black hole. Something that we don't understand. What is this thing? We don't know. It's just a black hole. And suddenly, it takes Dia and Kanan and Mari. They're gone. It just takes them away. And our 6 are left here, just confused. They don't know what has happened. They don't know where they went. But they have to escape. They have to run away. And they don't know what's happened. But they just run away. And that's where we end season 1. Now, is this too dark for Love Live? Probably so, but we're going to do that. We're going to do it anyway. Because I think that our Love Live fans have grown up. And I like this analogy that a lot of animated shows do, especially kids' shows. The first season is very kiddie. Second season, you introduce a few more real-world topics, maybe some really violent stuff in it if you're a fighting show. Third season, you're getting into some more heavy stuff. By the 4th and 5th season, especially by the final season, you're getting dark. You're talking about some real-world topics that really test these kids' knowledge, because that's what a series should do. Now, I'm not saying we're going to brutally kill Mari. No, we're not going to do that. But I'm saying it needs to have weight to what this series is, because that gets us to our ending. So season 2. Let's get to season 2 now. So season 2 starts and all our characters are just distraught. They don't know what's happened. Where did they go? We don't know. But Chica and Rico and you, they're like, hey, we got to keep going. We got to go. And Ruby is like, yep, you're right. My older sister would have wanted me to keep going. And Yohane is like, what are you talking about? They're gone. What are we supposed to do? And that's where we get into really an interesting conflict here. Because Yohane is not ready to let go of the past. She's stuck in the past, and we need her to move forward. We need her to step into a new role and to keep going forward, but she can't do it. And so the first 6 episodes are fairly just tame. We're gonna, try to find out what's going on. We're just, some kind of side episodes, nothing filler, but we're gonna have like minor stuff to where we're working to that point. We're trying to find out what's happened. Maybe they get a few more details. And maybe we meet a few extra characters, but keep that in mind for later. I'll bring that up. But then we get to episode 6. This is the mid-season big climactic battle. So our characters now have found out where this void is. They believe that if they go and fight it, that they can get them back. They can find them. And so they go there. And what do they find? Nothing. There's nothing there. What happened to them? We don't know. But they're not there. And so what happens is, let's imagine it's a big castle. That'd be good. It's a big castle. And we have to go to the very top of this castle. Maybe this is a 2-episode arc to where we got to get to the top of this castle. And when we get there, everybody's saying, yeah, they're here. They're here. We can find them up there. And we get there and there's nobody. That's what we're going to do. That's a great way to do it. And when we get to the top of the castle, our characters are now ready to go with their plan. They have anticipated that they're going to find the void here. Because now that they're not, our 3 that they've been looking for on here, they're ready to take down this void. But Yohane messes up. How? I don't know. Maybe she had a spell she was going to do and it didn't work. And with that, we have our big incident now. Because the void is ready to take more people. So the void now takes Chica, Yu, and Rico. And Yohane tries to stop it, but she can't. Hanamaru and Ruby drag her away. Yohane blaming herself. It didn't work. I was the reason they got taken. And then we're going to keep going because they escape, but they're gone now. We're down to 3. Now, if you kind of can anticipate where I'm going with this, you may be able to see where I'm going. You may be able to see where this series is going and how I'm going to end this. But we're going to talk more about it. So we have 6 episodes left, and during those 6 episodes, our first episode, back episode 7, is Yohane pretty much blaming herself. We have to get through this depression, Yohane. And I think it's an important episode to go through. We need to see Hanamaru and Ruby be taking more of a stance of, hey, we're the oldest now. We're the last ones left. We have to keep going. And Yohane is like, no, it's my fault. We should have done it then, but we didn't. And it's my fault. Maybe we get a good speech from Ruby or Hanamaru. Maybe Hanamaru. I think Hanamaru would be good here because they've been friends for so long. And she's able to tell her, hey, look, it happened. But it's not over. We can do this. Us 3, we can do this. So, as the series goes on, maybe we have a training episode. Maybe we have a kind of a preparation episode where we prepare ourselves and the characters prepare themselves for what is to come. And so we return to the castle. And now we have a plan. Yohane is the one that's got to take it down. They've figured it out. Yohane is the only one that can take down that void. So she's got to do it. But she's nervous. She's anxious about it. She doesn't know if she can do it. She's failed once before. Can she really do it? Should she be the one to be put in charge of this? She even recommends, why not Ruby? Ruby would be far better than me. But Ruby says, no, it's got to be you. You're the one that can do this, not me. You can do it. So, we're here. It's the end of episode 11. Our 3 main characters are right there. They're ready to fight it. This big void appears once again at the top of the castle. Same place that Chica and the others got taken. And now they're ready. They're ready to fight it. But suddenly, the cloak flies away. The black is gone. It reveals its true form. It's a massive clock. And now, we have it click a few times. We hear it hit a different number. And then we cut to a Yohane in a new school with a new uniform, back in the real world, and she wakes up. And then we cut away. That's the end of episode 11. So, episode 12. This is the finale. This is the finale of the series. How do we tie this together? Fans are wondering, what was that? Where are we at now? Are we back in the real world? Was this a dream the whole time? Is she back to being a second year? No. Because in the 12th episode, we discover Yohane and Ruby and Hanamaru are not just second years, they're now third years. And we find out pretty quickly that it is Yohane's fault they lost the second Love Live they attempted. Chica and Yu and Rico never win a second Love Live, and it's because of Yohane. Something she did in that second Love Live, maybe a dance move, maybe she missed a note, whatever, it's her fault they lost. Now, none of them blame her. It's not their fault, but she blames herself. And we find out very quickly that the third Love Live is days away. And Yohane has been chosen to be the center for this final event. They have made their way to the final competition. This is it. This is their final performance. No matter what, if they win or lose, this is it. So, the final act of the Love Live Aqours story is Yohane and Ruby and Hanamaru performing one final time. We see that the other 6, they're not gone. They're up in the stands. They're watching them. They're cheering them on. And we see that it's all just about that time is caught up with them. So we go through the song. We have a good song. I don't know what you do here, but we have a good song. And then at the end of the song, we have them all standing up on the stage. Maybe we just have some generic other Love Live girls up there. But then we have Yohane in the middle, and Hanamaru and Ruby to each side of her, and they're waiting for the results. They come over these speakers, and the winner is, and then we cut to silence. We slow the video down, and we see the confetti shoot out, and then Hanamaru and Ruby grab Yohane from both sides. They hug her, and they are celebrating. They've won. They've won their Love Live. They are 2-time champions now. The first Love Live school idol group, any competitors, to ever win 2 Love Lives. She did it. Yohane helped them. She couldn't do it the second time, but she did it the third. and she's came back. She's overcame everything that told her she wasn't good enough. She's overcame her fear of change, the fear of the future, and she's able to fully accept that time is not something to be afraid of. Time is something that we all have to accept, and that because she focused, she knew her friends were there. Even if they have to go on different paths, they're still there for her. That's the story. That's the story of Yohane. That's the story of Sunshine in the Mirror, because sunshine is in the mirror. That series is in the mirror, and we're looking to the future. And Yohane has accepted that, and that's how our series ends, with them happy, them celebrating. The other 6 run up there and they hug them. We get a reunion one last time. These 3 went out on top. They went out with a bang. Now from here I say you do about 2 more lives. You have 1 more live to celebrate just the Yohane series, and then you have 1 love live that is the final love live, as in like you just do a similar thing to what Muse did. You sing a lot of the iconic songs. Maybe you go out with Next Sparkling, or maybe you go out with whatever this was, but a 9-person version of it. I think that'd be great as well. And with that, Aqours disbands from a full-time group. Now, obviously, they can come back, like I said, as part-time things. For an anniversary event, they could do that. Maybe they do an event every 2 or 3 years as just a fun event. They don't really dance or whatever, but they just come in and sing. That would be fun. This gives Nijigasaki the chance to take over as the 3rd year. That gives them a chance to really end their saga and do the same thing. Eventually they will move on. Eventually Liella will take the 3rd role, and then they'll have to move on. It's just how things go. So I mentioned that we might meet other girls in that 2nd year. And that's where I introduce a secondary option. Now, I don't personally like this idea, but I want to bring it up. And that the possibility that we introduce a new little trio in the 2nd season. And this trio would be 2nd years, while Yohane, Hanamaru, and Ruby are 3rd years. We introduce a new, basically, group. Next generation Aqours. And with this, after our original 9 disband, we can introduce the next group. The next generation of Aqours. Now, like I said, I'm not real into this idea, but I'm not against it. I don't think it's right. I think you should always have Aqours be those 9. Don't give it away. Just make a new group with a new name. But if you wanted to really keep this group, if you wanted to make a next generation, you can do it with this way. I think it works, but I think you ruin a little bit by having it to where, like, Chica and them couldn't win, but hey, these new girls won. I don't really like that. So like I said, and it's a long, drawn-out spiel to tell you, I don't want Aqours to die a sad and just whimper of a death. Now, obviously, none of the girls are going away. Muse, you can still meet. A lot of the girls that were a part of that, they come to the U.S. even to do conventions. You can still meet them. They still have even solo events. Shoot, Muse is doing a concert, an orchestra thing, this year. You can still go see them. It's just not as often. And I think that makes them even more of a legend, because you have these rare events to where they show up and it's like, whoa, I can't wait to meet them. That's how Aqours could be. They're already the longest running Love Live group. They will forever be known as all of these accomplishments they have done. They'll be known for that. They've not got anything to prove. So why not give them this great, epic finale that says, hey, we're done. We're going out the same way Muse did, on top. And that's it. That's all I got. Do you think this is a good idea? What do you think of the Yohane series? I personally didn't like it. I think it's a wasted opportunity. Do you think my idea is better? Do you think Aqours should go anywhere? Do you think they should just stick around and play forever until one of them ends up hurting their vocal cords and she's got to step down, and then they end up replacing Ruby or Mari or one of them, and then it's like a whole can of worms, because even though this actress has played her for 9 years, we're going to replace her. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants it to be, hey, our final Love Live won't include Mari, or won't include Ruby, or won't include Chica because we let them play too long and now they can't. So anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a different type of video, and it's a little bit longer of a video, but I really enjoyed making it, and it's something that I am really passionate about because I love Love Live. I mean, shoot, I love the franchise. So I don't want to see any of it fail. And I feel like we're on the verge of possibly seeing a failure. Maybe not a failure, but a sad retirement. And I don't want to see that. So anyway, like and subscribe if you did enjoy this. It'll let me know if you want to see more Love Live content. My first video with Love Live really didn't do that well, so maybe this one will. We'll see. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.